All right, guys. Should we get started? We have Alex Aperios from Aparios Design Limited. Dude,
How's it
so
going?
good to have you on. Today we
Yeah.
are just we're gonna chill. We're gonna jam. We're gonna peek behind the curtain of the genius, and yeah, we're just
The
gonna
craziness.
do a little show and tell. And let's get nerdy. And yeah, how are you, man? How's things wrapping up the end of the year?
Yeah, it's weirdly this week's become really crazy. So it's going to be a really stressful finish to the year.
Yeah,
It's like one of those things last week. It was getting really chill, and I was like, should I say yes to small work? And I was like, yeah, go for it. And I find it really hard to turn down really fun work, so
okay.
I've said yes. So yeah, it's going to be a crazy one.
That's the good problem that you have when there's too many
Exactly.
awesome jobs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
dude, that's awesome,
Yeah,
man. Well, I want to quickly share with people if they don't know who you are. Let's
sure.
see here. I'm gonna share my screen here. Okay, so we have Alex Aperios. Guys, follow him on Twitter. He is doing so many awesome branding work. Where's your website here? Love the website. It's amazing. Especially if you guys haven't seen like his logo work. Let's just take a look here real quick. Logos, monograms, word marks. I mean, some big brands. It's amazing. So can't wait for you to dive into like your process and see how messy or
hmm
clean your file is. So um,
Yeah.
yeah, with that, like, did I miss out anything about you? You're based in London.
Yeah, so I'm just outside of London,
Yeah.
like Cambridge way. I was originally in London, but I moved back a little while ago during COVID. Yeah, so that's like location wise. But yeah, I kind of specialize in brand identity, logo design. I was like a web designer for like years before
Yeah.
I started focusing on building brands. And then yeah, started my own studio about 6, 7 years ago, and I've started been ramping that up. Like I've started like hiring because it's just got insanely busy. So
Yeah.
yeah, there'll probably be more growth and change over the next couple of years. That's kind of how I'm focused at the moment.
Okay. Cool. Sweet, man. Well, yeah. Let's just we'll just have you. I don't know. Just share your process, and maybe you want to
Sure.
take us through like one project and like walk us through how you start some of the projects.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure thing. I'll show. I've got a couple of projects to show. I'll go through Noment because like I've shown a lot of that work and it's got quite a diverse range of like what we did. I mean, like anything, everyone else, I kind of start with a brand questionnaire. It's to really sort of dive deep and really understand, the problem and that I need to solve from a client perspective. And like that question is kind of like a strategic level. I don't go as far as into strategy, like, people who do strategy. But I do try to reveal, things that are unique about them. I want to try and tell a story, like what's unique about them that I can bring to the front, and kind of capitalize like from a brand perspective, like visually. And I want to make people stand out. And tell a story. So with every project, it always starts like that. But I'm because creatives are like super visual. We're visual people. It's always nice to try and build like mood boards. So generally speaking, I try to do mood boards at the start, and I've started to kind of define my process a little more than that. I used to just be really messy, just chuck a load of visuals at a client,
Mm.
but I noticed they were almost feeling like overwhelmed a lot of the time. So I've started to try and tailor that down to like if I'm going to present 2 to 3 options, I will try and refine those options down to like three really like solid ideas and try to get an action from them to really understand what they kind of like, what they think their business feels and thrives on, whether it feels like it's actually relevant to that as well. So this is No Mint was kind of prior to me actually like sort of refining my processes a bit. So like starting with um what the logo could potentially look like. So thinking about logo marks, what the word marks will look like, if lettering is an option for them, because I'm finding now with AI, people like
Oh, that's
it's
so
easier
nice.
to blend in like when the logo marks are just like minimal and clean. So lettering something that I try to push on my clients where possible. It's like it's easy to be more ownable when you kind of create that. that side of things. So I tried to categorize everything so it's kind of so they understand, where we could potentially take everything.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, so this was like sort of really at the start, and then sort of really thinking about color. How do they stand out in their space? Like, what do their competitors look like? It's always trying to choose color based on that theory of like, how do they stand out? They don't want to be choosing something that is going to make themselves look like their competitors. So we try to think about color from the get go as well. And then I look at things like typography, so like what visual language can be, how we can play around with image and layout, how that pairs with color, typography, that kind of thing. And then we'll go as far as doing art directioning as well. So like pretty much just thinking about the whole identity at this stage. And then we would normally go through a bit of a refinement along that as well. Sorry, I do tend to talk a lot, so if you need me to pause, just let me know.
No, this is good. Hey, I do want to pause. I want to welcome Jess. Hey, good to see you again.
Hey, Jess.
Um,
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
yeah, we're
I'm
just gonna
excited to
nerd
watch your
out.
process, Alex.
So this is a unmute. We welcome everyone to unmute themselves and then just like interject as much as you can and just go like ooh and ah and just nerd out over Alex's
Yeah,
process. But yeah, we're just gonna have a show and tell maybe for like the first, whatever, 20-30 minutes, and then we'll just have an open Q&A. And if you want to just like, ask more specific stuff, we can definitely do that.
cool.
All right.
Cool. So yeah, after this stage, what I tend to do, once we're kind of set on like the idea of like what the logo could look like and things like that. So there'll be some more meetings and things like that, but I'll sort of show you some messiness behind some of my
Here we
logo
go. Here
design.
we go.
So with Nomen, this is actually a really tidy document because with Nomen, I wanted to kind of split the logo development up into lots of different artboards. So normally what I do, and I'll go through this in a minute, but with Brave Up and Robots, it's one crazy artboard. So there's loads of different styles and approaches. But with Nomen, because it was like really letter based, they had a lot of animation involved. I wanted to try and think about, and sometimes find my artboards could get so messy that it actually stresses me out. So I'll get to the end of the day, I was like, oh my God, I don't even know where I am anymore. So trying to create some sort of like process behind the mess that I create at the end of the day. But as you can sort of see, like this company specifically focus on really amazing animation, and they win literally a ton of awards. So it's like trying to bring in some of that really fun aspect of them.
Mhm.
They do a lot of like 3D animation, some like 2D stuff. And it was like, how could I create a logo system that could be extracted from that? So I went into like areas of like turning their logo into like tubes. So like creating almost a letter system around this, which was quite a cool idea. So I kind of was already thinking of like how could I potentially animate that at this stage as well. So, and with all the logo stuff I do, if we're going to focus on logo types, it's like how can that become a logo mark as well? So I was like, if that could be a really simple logo in itself, like could we use that as the icon? So I'm always trying to think about how you could potentially use an icon as well. So this is like one of the options. Um, and then as you can sort of see, it's like adding a little bit more playfulness. Like what if we add some obvious like loops in there?
Mm.
So that was quite a cool option. This one was like quite intriguing. Um, yeah, just like really playing around and just having a bit of fun with it. Like what if that and sorry, go on.
How,
You're gonna
yeah.
say something.
How long does it take you to like even explore each little direction, whether you got the little loopy one or that like circular one on the bottom and then on the left side, and then yeah, all that's like, is it all in one day? Is it a few days?
So this would probably be like within a day.
Oh
Like
wow. Okay.
this is kind of yeah. I would try and turn around like the rough iterations in like a couple of days if I can. I try spend no more than a week on like first draft stuff because I kind of want it to be a collaborative approach. So I try to get the client involved quite quickly.
Mm.
So I want initial feedback and reactions like really soon. It very much depends. Like my process now is to try and get a more collaborative approach to the whole like processing from start to finish. But what I used to do, like, well, I mean, some designers still prefer to do that. They used to go away and have really polished like concepts and then present them in a in a really beautiful document, which I still do. But for a project that's really big like this, then I try to present the logos up front first and give
Okay.
them some context and really talk them through, yeah, through the process as well. Yeah,
Nice. Christina, you got a quick
cool.
question?
So
Oh
Christina,
yeah, my question is that how do you start? You jump right into Adobe Illustrator and use the pen tool right away, or you start the process on paper?
So specifically for things like this, this was like done on paper and then on Procreate on the tablet. So I find when it's letter-based stuff, because I kind of want to be a bit more perfect on some of the angles, and you know, I tried to make it feel more hand-drawn. Then I'll start on paper pencil and then go to Procreate and then I'll use Illustrator. But for something like this, for example, like I would be inspired, like this was inspired by a font that I'd seen online. I think it was actually the font of all places. And I dissected it and just like kind of nerded out. I was like, oh, what if I could change this angle? Like, what if this O could like look like this? So it can sometimes be like really random, like a letter that I see online. It might be on like Save or Pinterest. It could just be literally a letter O, and I could be inspired by that to create a whole word mark, or potentially even like a font or a language that we could potentially use. Yeah.
that's cool. So
Cool.
good.
Yeah. So yeah, this was like one yeah, so essentially like one day of messing around. We would even like I even thought about potentially changing up all the characters so they all had
Ooh.
like a unique style, and I really loved this. And I presented this as one of the concepts, and yeah, and although they really loved it, they couldn't see beyond like how distracting this would be from all of the work that they present. They were like, how could we implement that as a system in the business? So that got ditched like pretty early
Mm,
on. But because they have such beautiful work with everyone that they work with, they didn't want the logo to detract from the work. So had the logo been on the website, this had probably been like quite large on like the hero section. They didn't want to deter from that as well.
mm.
So although that was quite cool, it didn't inspire like the final concept, but yeah, it was one of those ones that I was like, ah, damn.
Yeah, that alone is so good. There's just so many
Yeah.
styles. And yeah, wow.
I
Yeah.
have a question. You have a lot of different styles that you explored for this brand, and you mentioned that you like to take the collaborative approach with clients. Did you show
Mhm.
them a lot of these different concepts, or did you end up honing it to like a few that were kind of like in the realm, or like one was like very different from the others?
Yeah, so with this particular client, it was a very collaborative like process. Some clients I don't do that with because it's more
Mhm.
corporate. I kind of want them to see the final work. But with this one, because they're quite a heavy animation company, I think it was been good for them to see all of my thinking, and just in case there was something in there that they could spot that I couldn't, because
Mhm.
in the world that they're in, they are super creative people, so it kind of made sense to get them involved in that quite early. But I mean, a lot of the time, I would try and refine it because I think it can be quite overwhelming for clients if you're going to present like 20 options. They're like, oh my God,
Mhm.
which one do I choose? And then I find the process gets quite difficult because you're like, right, now we need to roll it back to the initial brief. Like, why is this more appropriate than, all of the other 20 options that I've just presented to you? So I do my best to try and make sure that I refine as much as possible. Otherwise, there is that confusion that will come to a bit.
Yeah. And do you animate your own logos, or did this client because they already do that type of work?
Yeah, so they do that because they're already really specialist in that. I normally outsource for animation, just because I don't have the time to do it myself. And it's just another thing to add to like a level of work that I do. So I kind of focus more on the creative side of things.
Okay.
Time to flex
Cool.
those jitter skills. Hey, Brittany?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I could show you another so these are more exploration. So like that after that round had been presented and we didn't land on anything specific, then there was just another round of like just testing and seeing what way we could push. We kind of landed on something more like this, and then you can
Oh,
see
wow.
the final case study on my website, but became something, it was like just more simplistic, but kind of still having some really interesting forms. We still wanted to kind of break the mold from where they were. They literally typically had, they just typed a logo out of a font. So we kind of wanted to move really far away from that, and still have something really unique. So I'll just show you the Figma file. So again, my Figma file got a bit crazy.
Wow.
So this is going from like logo design to like trying to evolve that identity. So there was things like posters. So again, this was one of the final options that I presented to client because it felt really unique for them. There was, I sometimes do things like background. So there was like illustrations of like the lightning bolt becoming like a brand pattern that could be reused. Start to think about social media. So how does that come across on all of their social posts? So there was like just like cropping some of their videos. How does the logo overlay some of their animation? So it's really important for them to make sure that the logo could interact with all of the animation work that they do. So this option sort of went quite far. The yellow was like a primary color that I kind of inherited. So had to evolve from that. So they specifically used red and yellow. They rarely used yellow, but I was like, what if we could move away from that? So I wanted to test the water. So then we used some like more toned down colors to level that out a little bit. But yeah, you can sort of see how this was going to transition into business cards, which I wish that they'd gone with this because they would have been like just so nice and tactile. So that was one option. This option here was, sorry, go.
Can I ask a quick question? Was this at the stage where you were still presenting the logo like concepts to the client and you were dressing it up so that they can understand it better?
Yeah. So this was like, it was just after this point I'd presented. So this was probably like the first week of design. So I've done logos and then I was just putting together some like visual language for them, and I would have presented this first round in the presentation.
Was the images that are here, did you also create that for this, or was that already part of their brand?
That's all their content. So
okay.
these are all the animators they work with. So they work with some really like high level animators in the industry. So it was a kind of a conversation that I had early on, that is there any images that we could potentially use to, share the work and work with. It was quite important for them to make sure that the logo worked with that. So I made sure that I can grab content. I know how difficult it is working with clients to get imagery sometimes. So this kind of allowed me to really flex like creativity. Sometimes when you're working with a more corporate company and they got really terrible photography, you've kind of got to you've got to push the boundaries a bit. You've got to go and make your own imagery. But with this one, it was like, okay, there's a library of stuff that I can play with that just made my life a lot easier.
Nice.
That's awesome.
So the more material, the better for you. It's like a playground.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, like now I've got all this. I don't have to focus too much on creating like really deep assets for this. It's like now I can really show what it's going to look like in the real world for them.
Right.
It makes my life a lot easier. So yeah, that was that option. That obviously, like during this process, I've got to think about the website as well. So like how is the logo going to interact with the website? It's like, so you're thinking about things like hover states. And this rolled into a web design as well. And as you can see, the world gets a little bit crazy.
I love this. You know what
and
this is?
This is
like giving us your key to your house, and then like like you're going to their bedroom and laundry's all around. You didn't tidy it up, so I appreciate you.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. My Figma boards do kind of like sit like this for quite a while until I'm like, right, now I need to go and tidy my bedroom. It's a really good analogy, actually, just in case mum walks in and sees it.
Yeah. I do see you've named your layers, so well done. Your artboards.
Yeah, well, they do start like this, and then I'm like, right, yeah, this is it depends how many iterations and refinements you have to do. If you've got to get something done in like a matter of hours, you kind of stop caring about layer names, and then you start to focus on the creative. This was like the final concept. So there was like email newsletters, and then we did deck designs, refinements of the color. Social media, they're all using these now. So, and they actually made a pin badge with this N, which was quite cool as well.
Oh, cool.
So they've got a machine in their office and they can make their own pin badges. I was like,
Wow.
what? So that was pretty cool. Yeah. They're super creative. They're really nice people to work with. But yeah, so that was that project. I can go through Brave Duck and Robots if you want me to go through that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jess,
sure.
I'm like hungering to hear your thoughts on this.
Oh, Alex is amazing. I like love all of his work so much. He's so talented. This is so cool to see. Your lettering is like out of this world. We got to
Yeah.
Thanks,
collaborate.
Jess. Yes, definitely. Yeah, that would be super cool. Cool. So yeah, Brave Duck and Robots. So they're a rebrand and sort of repositioning their business. Their name came about from so they basically they used to meet in this Chinese restaurant and they used to eat duck. And so all of their creative ideas. So they do interactivity, like interactive studio animation. They do physical media and stuff like that. And their name came about from because the point of starting the project, they would just rename it. They're like, "Can you give us 2 weeks before we start the project so we can just get set on this name?" I was like, "Okay." I was waiting patiently for this name. I was like, "Oh God, what is it going to be?" Because they're taking so long. And then they came back and they're like, "It's Brave Duck and Robots." I was like, "What?" That's so cool. I was like, this is so fun. I was like, I was expecting it to be something like really like chill or like, something not as obscure as that.
Yeah.
Their old brand name was Ultra V, which is like very technical.
Mm.
I just did not expect anything like this. So the name came about from so they used to meet at this duck restaurant and just all their amazing ideas from the business, and they're all really talented people. And they're like, "Shall we call it Brave Duck and Robots?" I was like, they were like, "Yes, let's do that."
I
I
love
was
that
like,
story.
"Okay, sweet." So like, as of all the brand names like for it to come about, that was a really cool story. So I was like, "Yeah, you definitely have to keep it like this." So like anything, it's trying to tell a story. The very similar process to Nomen. So coming up with lots of different ideas. And what I really noticed with I don't know if you get this, Jess, but like when a client has a really long name for a logo, it can be quite painful to create a logo. It takes ages.
Yes. It's also so hard to do a mark for it, like, because then you're like, oh, is it a
Yes.
monogram? Is it
Yeah,
just a
exactly.
stacked word mark? Like, it's, yeah, totally.
Yeah, so that I was like, oh, like what is the duck too obvious? Like, do we have an avatar? Is that too obvious? And so it was like, again, coming up with different forms and different ways that this could be super unique. So I was like, I wanted it to be really abstract. So like we did the whole mood board session. They really liked they were set on like they liked the Bolt logo, they like Bloom, the Nix and Nick stuff. So I was like, okay, this is cool. I know that I'm going to be able to create something really interesting here. So it was kind of like I was set on doing an abbreviation of the logo because it was so long, and it was like, how can we sort of incorporate lots of different forms? And I was like, the R just lends itself so well to the robot, but without giving too much away. So I wanted this like little unique character. And I was like, they were like, "Oh, can you get the ducking there?" I was like, "Oh, yeah, but I feel like it's going to be too obvious." So, yeah, after a lot of iterating and being really abstract, they were like, "Oh, we were expecting like lettering and stuff." I was like, "Yeah, but you're in a world that doesn't feel like that will work very well." So, like what they present and the way that they
Mm.
work with media all the time, it feels they have to attract a different audience, and they don't specifically work with like really creative people. They work with a lot of tech-based like agencies
Oh,
and
okay.
companies. So we had to kind of like tone that down, that loudness. So it was that meant they were approachable by a wider audience. So it was like that was one of the things that kind of like refined this process a little bit. It was like we could have really pushed it and had that really creative avatar stuff, but I think it would have been too cartoony and yeah, unapproachable for those kind of audiences.
That's the challenge of coming up with a logo or art direction. Like the client may have their own preference, but then you almost have to like cater
Mhm.
to their client base and their audience instead of their own personal
Exactly.
preference. So yeah, that's the challenge.
Yeah. So
I have a question,
that's oh
Alex.
yeah.
I'm curious, like when you're designing these logos, like all of them just feel like they lend themselves so well to the systems that could the
Mhm.
worlds that could be built around them. Are you thinking about that as you're designing the
Yeah.
logos at this stage? And yeah, are you doing little experiments on the side, or like, what I'm curious what your like thought process is there.
Yeah, so like I'm always trying to think about the bigger picture. It's like it's all in good, like creating something that looks really unique, but if it doesn't work in a system, then it's going to make everything more difficult for myself. So with everything, it's like, how can I potentially use this mark as a brand pattern, or how could that be used as a device to maybe push like images through? How could it be animated? How could it work on the website? You do always have to think bigger picture, like you do with a lot of your projects. So yeah, 100%. It sometimes, like if I've done something and I'm like, okay, this is really cool, but does it actually fit the purpose? And then that will make me ditch the idea quite early on. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, they're so good.
Yeah, so there was a lot of like playfulness. So you can sort of see me trying to get the duck in here as well. So this is like really like character vibe, and you can sort of, I was trying to like, what if the duck head and the eye of the robot actually became one character in itself? But then too much was happening. It's like this bee is interacting too much with like this icon here. So it was like you just said, it's like trying to think about something that could create a system. This was actually one of the
I like
ideas I
this.
presented. So
This was cool.
yeah, so this is quite cool. Like I could really see this working, but again, I couldn't get the duck in there. So it ended up looking like two robots. I was like, yeah, there's two robots, that doesn't work.
Oh, that's a
So that
duck.
was like turning.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
I
thought
was
it was like a
trying to be
little
a duck, but
bulldozer or something.
does look like one actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was quite a cool little system that I had going. And then I was even turning the D into like a duck feather. So I could really see this like working as a logo mark in itself. Yeah, I thought that was quite cool. And then like a capital D with the duck feathers, and then the R being a robot. And then I was even playing around with adding eyes to the type as
Yeah.
well. So what if the type was by itself and that became like a robot? This was actually one that got presented. Sorry, go on, Josh.
Yeah, real quick. So this is like your pure exploration file, right? Like your canvas,
Yeah.
your sandbox.
Yeah.
For me, and like I'm no brand designer, but like how do you balance? Because I think the saying is like when you try to create a logo mark, you don't try to explain too much in the logo mark. It's more of a unique identifier, right? But obviously, when you're in the early stages, you're divergent thinking, and you're trying to dive into this tangent and this tangent, and like it seems like you are so well honed, like you don't go too much into a rabbit hole, like you know how to pull yourself out and then go into another direction. I'm just curious, like how do you go about doing that, right? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tough question, because there are some times where I do go down a rabbit hole that I'm like, yeah, I've been doing this for way too long. I've been
Yeah.
spending too long on this one idea. I noticed when I was in my early stages of my career, I used to do that more, but because I've got more experienced, I know that I can set myself like a 2-hour target of getting like a load of ideas done. And I'm not fixated on anything anymore, because I've had enough reaction, I've had enough feedback from clients to kind of understand that I'm not glued to anything. I don't like, I love what I create, obviously, but I'm not like, I don't mind feedback on anything. So I kind of want to get as many ideas done as possible. And I find that like reveals any creative blocks. I don't know about other designers, but what I find, what stops my creative block is like creating lots of different ideas, and then moving on to another project. So that's why I give myself like targets. If I like, I don't know if you read my interview that I had recently on the brand identity. I would literally put a movie on as like a timer.
Oh, cool.
And within that movie, I'll try and get like a system done, or like lots of different ideas. And that just because I then have to stop and move to something else, it avoids like any kind of creative block that I have, and it avoids me like focusing on one idea, because I know that I need to get lots done. So that's become almost like a process for me, and that kind of helps my working.
I love that.
Do you pick a certain type of movie, or are you just doing it for a timer?
Which movie gets you in the flow state?
Yeah. So it's like, it's mostly sci-fi. Like weirdly, it's like I'll put on Alien, which I've watched about a billion times. A lot of people are like, "That's scary. Why would you put that on for like while you're working?" But it's like a nostalgic thing for me. Yeah, so a lot of sci-fi. I try to avoid action because like the noise of people being shot is too distracting. But drama films like Big with Tom Hanks is a really good one because like it's just a really fun film to listen to. So I tend to use like films that I've Shawshank Redemption is a really good one because it's nice and long, and it's got a good soundtrack.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's so good.
That's awesome.
yeah,
I've never heard of someone doing that before, so that's really
yeah. Yeah, I do. It sounds unique every time I say it out loud, actually. Yeah, I'm just weird, man.
That's your secret. That's your secret.
Yeah.
Sci-fi
Yeah,
movies.
true. Yeah. Yeah, so done a lot of exploration, and then I'll just show some more refining before you get bored of me talking. So yeah, so like this is kind of the initial presentation. So yeah, cover project goal, what they're going to see, and I will talk through this. Sometimes I will present this like with them live, or a lot of the time I do Loom videos now because then they can just review it in their own time. It really does save them time, and they seem to love it. I always get really good feedback from doing that. I do a mood board recap just to make sure that we understand what we talked about. And then I talk through the goal of the presentation and go through any sort of strategic stuff prior to that as well. And then with this project, there was 3 initial options. Option 1, you've just seen some of that concept. So this is like really early stages, no refining at this stage. So
Okay, real quick.
this is kind of like a system. Sorry, go.
The font for Brave Duck and Robots here. What font is that? Did you come up with that, or did you work with the client?
This is
it's all
like a
custom.
font.
Or is it? I don't know.
No, this is a font that the guy who does it is a guy called BM or Brandon Nickerson. I don't know if you know his fonts. Like he does like display. His fonts are absolutely insane, and they're all so cheap and affordable. So I'm like, if I can try find a custom font or something that could be used for that, then I will do it. Just because it kind of feels more ownable. But if it's something really simple and bold, then I will create the logo myself just because I've got time to do that. But it also just depends on the client and target audience, really.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, with this font, this was like the font for the logo type because I think I have a rule of thumb with logos. Like if there's a logo mark, then I will choose a more significant font to go with it. But if like the logo or the logo mark and logo type is more interesting, then I will like try and customize it. So that's kind of my rule of thumb, if that makes sense. Yeah.
What's the name of that foundry? Brandon Nickerson?
It's Brandon. It's just on his website. It's Brandon Nickerson.
Okay.
Or like BM Nix is his nickname. Have you pushed it in the chat? Yeah.
Sweet.
Thank you.
Yeah. Every single one of his fonts are like, and he releases a free one on Monday every week, which I make sure I download.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
Just so you know. So yeah, that was the logos, and all these presentations really change based on what I need to do for the client. So it depends on the deliverables. So, but with this, like the initial round was like focus on logo topography, some social media posters, what that will look like. As digital, social media, some merch, and then color. So this is like the initial round for presentation, just so they can sort of get a real feel for that as well. This second option, basically they do 4 major things in the business. So this logo was centered around some circles. So this is actually the logo that they went with. So it's a bit more strategic than the others. Like they went with this because of that reason. So there was like four key things they do in the business, and each one is a different level, which is why the circle is in different heights. So it actually became a bit of a system. So presented that and talked that through that idea, and they really focused and loved that as well. So you could sort of see how that played into some of the visuals, social media.
This is so darn good.
And then I mean, if I can work on the website, then I will. But with this project, they didn't have the capital to do that, so that's something that hopefully we're going to do in the future. But again, I was like, right, I've got to showcase what this is going to look like digital for them, and they were really happy with that. They were like, yeah, if we utilize this, we will. So that was cool. This this version was actually my favorite. I just really loved this R. I just really
Oh,
wanted
wow.
him. I just wanted him as like a little character key ring or a pin badge. I was like,
Yeah.
please go with this. Please go with this.
And the grid
But
is
yeah,
so
they
well
ended up going.
balanced too. Like
Yeah.
it's so modular. I love it.
Yeah. You could just sort of see it like just work together. It's
Yeah.
almost just, yeah.
Like look what you did
So it
here.
had
This is
like,
so good. Dang.
yeah.
And
So it would have,
the font choice that you have paired with this, it's just the combination of it is it's gorgeous. I love it. I could stare at this
thanks.
all day.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Love it. Yeah, it's a tough one for me with Legos because it's like once I've created something like this, then I will go through. I mean, Smith and Dixon are the best at doing this. Like to take inspiration from anyone, it's like how they go through font files and choose their fonts is like way more extreme than what I ever get. I do. But it is a system though. Like it's like you can't pair this with something really odd. It's like, well, okay, we've created this really angular kind of grid file, grid logo style. So you kind of have to think about how you're going to pair that with the font. So it's like, okay, well, what if it's condensed? Is it angular? Like, what shape can it be? So it's kind of testing, and you'll know quite quick what doesn't work well together. So I do a lot of testing of that as well. Yeah. So and then pair with IBM because why not?
I love it.
And then I wanted to do some like retro grids as well, so it kind of felt like a Tron game. So that was interesting. Social media layouts, and then some posters. Like how these are the four like key circles that was on the other logo.
That's so good.
So strategy, creative, tech and production, and measure and extend. And then I just could see this working so well on a website. Just these big, bold, beautiful icons.
Yeah.
So so that was like one presentation, and then as you can see, it kind of went on a little bit, but not too bad. Like sometimes the rounds can go up to like 6 or 7, but with this, it was like 3 or 4 rounds of like finalizing. They were set on the idea so early on that all we needed really to do was to refine the logo. They weren't so keen on the height, so it presented the original mark and just compared lots of different styles. So it's really just refining and toning down. I even presented a potential font for them as well. No, like, no, that's way too far.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. So that's kind of you can get my sort of process in a nutshell, I think.
Yeah. Oh,
Cool.
amazing.
Cool. Any
Sweet.
questions?
Yeah, let's open it up.
Do you have a strategy for what direction you present first and last? And I feel like every designer is different in this way. Like my favorite goes first or last or whatever.
That's a tough question. Like sometimes I will know like which ones are definitely presentable to a client, but then like if there's a idea that I love so much, I do present it because like there will be passion behind how I present that to the client, and then I'm really like again, like it just has to make sure it relates to the brief. I can't just present something that I love that doesn't make sense to what I'm presenting. So but I guess the process is just going back to the brief. I do make sure I've got the brief open on my screen when I'm designing all of this stuff, is to make sure that I've not missed what we're trying to achieve in the end result, essentially. Yeah.
Okay, I got a question. Okay,
sure.
I'm so relieved of what you showed us, because I personally don't think AI can ever like replicate this process. It's just, the pure human creativity is amazing. But I do want to know how you use AI. When does it come into the process of your exploration? How does it inspire you to start?
So AI for me is like, it's more like my mid-journey is pretty crazy at the moment, because I go through, so I'm working with a client at the moment. He's called Hugo, and he doesn't have any like real beautiful photography. He has some stuff, but basically we've created a series of photos and art direction based on his exact target audience. So he has a person he sells to that age range, and they're mostly female. So what we've done is create a load of different imagery, specifically targeting that audience. So they're internal shots. So basically they sell really beautiful homes, but they didn't want to just have like these, typical external shots. So we've created these ones where they almost interact. They feel like they're interacting with the person they're being shot in. So almost like real photographs. So that's something that I didn't think I ever would do, but that's become like something that a lot of my clients have started asking for. They're like, "Oh, do you use AI?" And I'm like, "Yeah." What specifically for? So you have to like make sure you understand what they need. And sometimes there's massive limitations there to what can be done. So with Hugo, it's developing a whole creative direction. I wish I could show you, but it's still live right now.
Yeah.
But that's been really interesting. But it's mostly, for me, it's mostly backgrounds and textures and things. So like, you've seen the Snapshift stuff that I've done and released.
Yeah.
But there's another client I work for called Curio, and they wanted some more like urban style backgrounds and sort of figures and mock-ups and stuff. So with Midjourney, it's like coming up with like textures and gradient styles that we could potentially use to present the brand with. I'm finding that more and more now that I want to try and sell an idea to a client, then I'll use AI to kind of showcase that idea, whether that is inspiring a photo shoot, the way that the photos are going to be articulated across an idea. With this, it's like, what if we did like isolated shoots, like blocking out some of those models, and then making that like own their brand and things like that. So lots of different things that I'm doing with AI in that at the moment, but it's not taking over any of my process in terms of like logo design. I don't think it ever will. I mean, to help me sort of understand an initial brief and come up with some initial ideas, I've tried that and it still fails quite bad. So yeah.
So it's mainly for photography and art direction.
Yeah. Although now Nano Banana's just released, I went and did a test. So I had a case study for a client that I hadn't updated for a long time. And I was like, right, okay, I've now got to use Nano Banana for this. So I took my logo that I created, found a real photo on Unsplash. So this is what I'm going to do. This is like a plan for the future, is to go and take real photos of scenarios, buildings, even a shop. If I work for someone, maybe a coffee shop, design the logo, use Nano Banana and Flora, and then get that to then put it onto the side of the building so it's for real. So a Nano logo won't need to so this can be a really physical mock-up of their actual location. So if you go and have a location shoot, but they haven't got enough money to get the sign made quickly, you can quickly then present that and create that for a client. So this was done in like under a minute and it looks realistic. So this is something that I think is open a world for creatives because they now have full control over how a brand can to be in the real world. I'm like, even when I was mocking up another hat for a client, but like the texture and the realism on the stitching is unreal. So this is like a illustrative logo that they've got, they've just gone with. But it's just like, how real does that look? And this is like the prompt was so super simple. It's like, make the cat float in the air, and then it did that for me. And then I did another one. So I tried the studio thing and it failed that a little bit. So I need to play around with that a bit more. But then, like, how real is this? It just placed it in the middle of like the basketball court. So like, it's just opened a world of opportunity to really push the boundaries of how we present our work to the clients. And I think there's always been that disjoint between us creating the work and presenting it and getting the client to understand how it's really going to work. I think this kind of narrows that gap or closes it completely. So in a world where that could happen really well.
Mockups is almost like a specialty in its own, and now we have this creative freedom to create these mockups that are custom. It's really cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is like really just surface level as well. Like, if I spent the time that I needed on this, I know a few other designers who were spending hours in this. I don't know if you guys know Jordan. He's working for a client at the moment, and I've seen his like artboard of Flora. Oh my God, it is a maze. It's just like little like these tangents. And he's creating these like 3D mock-ups that are like really intricate. And I was like, God, this looks stressful, but also quite impressive. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, that's and this is like one of the things we want to do at the Foundry is explore all different AI tools. Why do you use Flora? Like I know it's node based, but is it just very iterative? You can
Just
see you can like tether
yeah.
from one version to another and just have different variations.
Exactly that. Yeah, so it's because you've got access to all of these models.
Okay.
You've got like Flux Pro, like Fling. So you've got videos. So if you made any of these,
Oh,
you
you do
can then
video
just
too.
access video. Yeah, you can access like all the video models. The only one you can't get is Midjourney, obviously, because they have their own. They
Yes.
haven't open sourced it.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just access really. And I've got used to that node. And also you've seen my artboards, you know what they're like. So
Yeah.
it lends itself well to that.
I have so many questions. Okay, what's your main use case for like Midjourney versus Flora versus like something else? Like
Yeah.
what's so good about Midjourney that you like?
Midjourney's like it's just the randomness, like it's really creative. Like
Okay.
I've kind of got really used to and understand like how it's going to respond to a prompt.
Yeah.
So I know that it does like portraits really well. It can come up with really grungy aesthetics, which is something that lends itself to some of the work that I do. I feel like the other models are kind of more polished. Like Nano Banana is like almost too realistic in a sense. And some of these I don't want like all realism all the time. I want that creativity. I want that fun. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll start in Midjourney and then I'll take it into Flora and expand on that a bit further. It just very much depends what I want to do with the images. So like some of this stuff. So I mean, some of like sorry, go on.
No, yeah, I think it's just
so
taking advantage of the style references essentially, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like I feel like this is, if you were going to compare, this is like your Gucci kind of like styling. It kind of feels more editorial compared to the Nano Banana. It kind of feels like it's more realistic. You use it for mock-ups or like to give someone a sense of realism. This is kind of like initial creative ideas, early stage, and then Nano Banana is polishing essentially. Yeah.
Have you explored the style creator that's in beta right now? It was a part of
Yeah, not yet. This is something that I've played. I started playing with it, but yeah, it's one of those things that I just haven't had the time to expand on Midjourney. I feel like they release stuff every week. So it's one of those things you kind of get on top of it. So I feel like I'm already out of like where I was. Yeah, I feel like I need to catch up on like everything. Yeah.
It's hard.
Hey Alex, hey Mike. Dude, this is awesome, man. Thanks for sharing everything.
No
I was
worries.
just like really, really impressed by everything. And it's like I was wondering like do you have any tips on like how to manage all of these new AI tools coming out? Like I have like a super like big bucket of like unorganized tabs of like tools I want to play around with. But like
Yeah.
how are you like managing like all the new tools and like how like do you have like a process to kind of explore them like one by one, or like how does that work for you?
Yeah, so it's tough, like because there is some serious noise out there now. I try
Yeah.
to avoid the noise where possible and stick to, like, with design process and stuff. If you're trying too much stuff and spending too much time trying everything, you forget the main concept and the goal that you have at the first point. Like you need to focus on the goal of getting it done. And realistically, like a lot of these other new tools that keep coming on, they're not perfect yet. So you'll end up finding they break the process or they cause more pain or they cause you to have to spend more time trying to fix something. So I tend to try and stay, with the more popular tools until I've got time to test them myself. So if I have some downtime on a weekend, then I'll start to look at different tools and see, okay, that is actually better. And then I add it to my process later. So that's kind of that's how I kind of navigate it. I know it can be quite stressful looking at X and like Instagram. So it's a new tool every day and every week. So I do try avoid looking too much.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. It's like so much new stuff going on. But yeah, dude, thank you for sharing again. This is like everything's so amazing.
Yeah, no worries. Cool.
I think focus is going to be the superpower for 2026. We're so
Exactly.
distracted.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Alex, what AI tools do you pay for? I'm curious.
Oh
What are
God,
you?
yeah. Yeah, I got my yeah, I've got to pay tax this month, and I just got like my accountant just getting come back with everything that I paid for. I was like, oh my God, what? Yeah. I did, yeah, I completely forgot. There are some tools that I've stopped using that I still pay for and I've got to cancel. So yeah, I think most it's Mid-Journey, Flora. They're my go-to AI tools. ChatGPT I pay for just because it's like an everyday staple. That's kind of it on the AI side of things. And then there's obviously all the creative tools that I pay for, like yeah, Depth to Stock I still pay for because like when AI is doing a bad job, then I still go to search for stock libraries and things. Yeah.
Nice. Jess, what about you? I would love, because I know you've been playing with so much, and like, can you share a little bit, like any little teasers or?
I mean, yeah, I similar to Alex's process. I use Midjourney a lot for image creation, like
Okay.
texture image creation. I've been playing a lot more lately with vibe coding generative art
Yeah.
tools. So
That's cool.
like one client just turned down, it broke my heart, but just turned down like this like very cool like grid-based collage maker.
Oh,
Where
sick.
like basically you could like input in images that were like some of them were created with Midjourney, some were like just floods of color, some were like their logo or like, you know, vector SVG assets, and put that in, and then it would like spit out this like very cool gridded collage. I was gonna try and show that, but it has too many.
Okay.
It
All
has
right.
a
Fair
lot
enough.
of their logos plastered everywhere. But that kind of stuff is really cool. And I'll kind of start with ChatGPT, where it's like I'll be like, hey, I want to create this, you know, generative art tool with a, you know, Figma Make or Lovable or whatever. Give me a
Mm.
prompt. And so it'll have like a prompt that I can copy and paste as sort of like a starting point, and then it'll be a lot of back and forth in Figma Make or in Lovable to kind of be like, okay, no, I need to change this parameter or add this capability or remove that, or you know. So that's been something that felt like play a lot in the last couple months,
Yeah.
more so than like, which is a nice. It's like, I don't know, it just kind of adds life to the creative process. So I'm excited to
That's
see
so
more of
true.
it.
Yeah. How have you found like the back and forth? Because like when I've tried to vibe code stuff, like I get very impatient. It's almost like
Yeah.
it's a lot of waiting. I will stare at it like just dropping code. I'll be like, yeah, and then it will tell me come back in an hour or something. I was like, oh, like now I've got to do something else.
Oh,
Yeah.
I haven't run into an hour-long wait. I mean, I will go and jump off like, you know, for like 20
Yeah.
minutes or something maybe. Um, I would say it's definitely hit or miss. Like I was trying to do some cool, like, you know, make some cool linear pattern maker
Mm,
thing. And I just like
yeah.
it it doesn't always it's not always perfect, basically.
Yeah.
It would take a lot more back and forth to get it in a way that I want to just, you know, I could do an Illustrator in like, you know,
Yeah.
5 minutes.
That's so true.
But I think there's some things that are better than other. Like you know, what AI I think is pretty good at is like things that feel more randomized in a lot of ways, or like, you know,
Mhm.
like illustrations that are zoomed out where you're not like, you know, how it messes up hand still and things like
Yeah.
that. Like I was trying to render like a keyboard photograph the other day, like a mechanical keyboard photograph, and that was like a nightmare because it was, you
Oh
know,
no.
you start to look at the letters and it's like all messed up. So you know, it's still hit or miss, but like the collage generator was a perfect example because it was
That's
like,
cool.
oh, this should feel organic. This should feel sort of like ever changing and evolving, and so that
Yeah.
was nice. But more precision based stuff, it's still like,
Amazing.
okay, this is a little weird. I
Yeah.
haven't tried Flora yet though, or I've like, you know, haven't paid for it enough to try it. I opened it
Yeah.
up and then I was like, nodes, I don't know, it's just wild.
It is wild.
So
It's
you
quite
inspired me
stressful.
though.
Yeah, definitely do it. Definitely
I'm
give it a
gonna,
go.
I'm
The
going
the
to.
prompts look
Awesome
so
stuff.
simple, you know? Just trying
Mhm.
that out. Padraig, you've been playing with Weavy, right? Is it kind of more or less the same process?
Yeah, it's quite the same process. It's more like with Wavy, you are more getting, it's more structured, workflow
Yep.
compared to Flora, where Flora, you can just, take Flora, it's more for exploration, I think.
Okay.
And Wavy, it's more when you know the process. So, for example, for that mockup, you could use Wavy and and create like a workflow, and then you can connect input, output, and basically create a full app. So you don't see anymore the Canva with all the node connection. And you can have
This is
like
cool.
an app, you just enter your input, for example, your logo, your different mockup image that you don't change, and you can iterate quickly, on that. So it's two different approach. I think Flora is way better for exploration, and Weavy is more suitable if you have repetitive workflow for working with image generation.
Mhm.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah, I
cool.
was going to give this a try, actually. I keep seeing it pop up. It looks really cool.
Yeah, because when I saw your different presentation, when you put your logo and you just change the mockup basically at the end of the presentation. So
Okay.
definitely looking at Weavy, you could definitely leverage that and I think go even quicker, which is already quick quicker than
Yeah.
I can't do what you're doing. But yeah, I think Weavy, if you have repetitive placement of logo, maybe you will need some kind of level adjustment where maybe
Mhm.
it could fall down. But I think Weavy, it's definitely, I think, the go-to platform to have those repetitive workflow for image.
Awesome. Yeah,
Nice.
definitely check it out. It's cool.
So good. Um, Jess, like, I'm curious what other use cases you would use vibe coding, because I saw a talk with Nick Pattison and he basically, yeah, vibe coded. I think it was in
Mm.
Lovable, something similar like a pattern generating thing. But outside of that, like, do you use Lovable for like websites, or do you still stick with like, design it in
No.
Figma and then transfer it over? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't. Outside of like generative art stuff, I don't
Yeah.
use it at all for,
Okay, that's
yeah,
interesting.
prototyping essentially.
Yeah.
I'm also like less on the web side of things. Like maybe if I was more on like product or digital side of things, maybe I would be more into that. But
Mm.
no, not so much. Um, yeah, I don't know, I'm simple. I'm like Midjourney and ChatGPT more so, but
Yeah.
Flora seems interesting, so I gotta get in there.
Yeah. No, that's really cool to see Flora used that way, because I would just go straight to Gemini and then generate
Yeah.
images using Nana Banana. But like I feel like Flora just, I don't know, has more versatility, and it's always nice seeing like an open canvas layout UI as
Yeah.
opposed to like that thread base uh, UI. So yeah, but that's powerful. That's really cool.
Awesome.
So it seems like your process, you start with your logo mark, and then from there
Mhm.
you expand into how it can live into like the whole brand identity, and then you use AI to then like complete the later stage of the process, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I mean, the process does change like based on the projects. Like sometimes it's adaptable. It very much depends on, the client. Like sometimes they want it to be more hands-on, they want it to be more collaborative. So the phases can change.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't always do like a full brand project. Sometimes I do just logo design. Like I did some lettering for a podcast early last year, and literally was just pure lettering, and that was really fun because it's refreshing not to have to think about the end result like that goes too far or beyond that. So I do I take on a mix of projects. It's never just the same thing over and over. I mean, I'm sure some niche gurus would be like, "You're crazy. Why do you do that?" But no, I mean, I still do web design. Like, I will still take on web design projects, and I build sites in Framer when I can, just so I can try to like keep, my head above whatever tool's happening.
Yeah.
I hate the feeling of ever being like out of tech in general.
Mm.
So I kind of like to try and like dip my toes in there every now and then. Yeah, I mean, Framer is one of those things like the Framer AI tool that they've got where you can create components
Yeah.
that I've dabbled with. I've played with that quite a bit. And it's just crazy what can be done. And I think like our processes are going to keep like adapting over the next couple of years, because it's like, like Flora releasing Nano Banana just opened like a world of opportunity for mockups. But like going beyond that, like maybe that adapts video, like, or, maybe it does get good at like editing logos and iterating fast. I've even given Flora a go with like generating a typeface, so you literally find you can take like a really intriguing letter from like maybe an old archive, for example. You can chuck it into Flora and ask it to create you an alphabet based on that one letter. And it's actually surprising some of the results it can create. It still can be quite basic, but it's quite intriguing what it can do. So that's now. Like, imagine what it's going to be like in like 2 to 3 years. So, and it's like, I know people are like, oh, I'm so scared that it's going to take my job, but like I'm intrigued to play. Like I used to turn the PlayStation on at weekends to have fun. Now I'm like opening AI to like play, and it's like, what? I never thought I'd say that. I end up working weekends because I want to learn something. So yeah, it's weird.
That is so awesome. Well, thank you so much. We are at time, and I want to respect your time, so I appreciate everyone being here. We have a thing where we have a bonus time, so if you do have extra and you want to hang, you can. But officially, this wraps up this session. So thank you so much. Alex, do you have any extra time, or Jess,
you,
or
Alex.
everyone else, or do you guys have to go and play some more?
I gotta jump, unfortunately, but this was so awesome, Alex. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
So cool.
you're welcome. Yeah, I wish I could stay. It's I've got to go walk my dog. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, we'd love to have you on another time, and we've been DMing. I'd like to get you in on some competitions if you guys are keen.
Sure.
Some cool projects next year. So thanks so much.
Absolutely.
Have amazing holidays, and we'll see you around next time.
See you later.
Thank you.
Peace. Bye.
For the rest of you guys, you can stick around for the bonus hour.